Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Growing Pains. In this episode, I'm going to be joined by André Pimenta. Andre is the founder and CEO of a company called Anybrain. Anybrain actually looks at sort of the anti-cheat problem within games, but using AI to sort of map out how people engage with the games themselves. I think it's a very different approach to what I've seen other companies in the anti-cheat space use, where here the AI specifically maps how you're playing the game. So this not only shows you, for instance, if you're using bots, but can also show things like boosting, smurfing, for instance, if different people are sort of playing on accounts and things. So I think it's a really interesting approach to the anti-cheat problem. And in this episode, Andre really talks us through sort of the whole journey that he went on with the Anybrain team and how they sort of came up with this concept using essentially starting off from trying to solve a stress management problem for human computer interactions to going into the game side to being in love with this problem of trying to make games a fairer ecosystem, and how that's essentially been shaped over time, especially as the AI technologies have changed, and as the gaming hemisphere has also sort of changed and grown into be what it is today. Today, they're working with some sort of the biggest games from Valorant to Lost Ark, and I think it's just been really cool to understand from him and hear from him on how their journey has been shaped in terms of how Anybrain as a company has come together to sort of solve this big problem and to essentially make the games ecosystem a better place for players, for our experiences. So without further ado, here's the episode, and I'll catch you on the next one. It's in Portugal these days.
Quite hot. I guess I'm in almost of Europe, but
Yeah,
a lot of people going for vacations. In fact, it's difficult to
dude.
keep here at the office to work.
Dude, it's crazy here as well. I think we're at like the hottest day all year. It's like mid 30 degrees, and like there's no AC, there's no fans. Like we just don't do that thing. So it's like
Okay,
everyone's just
yeah, I
kind
I
of
read about
drenched.
that. It's not common in the UK. In fact, in this room we also don't have AC, but I'm using the fan. But I guess you will be okay. I will be okay for the podcast.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't just melt down here, or at least the devices don't. That's always going to be a
Yeah.
big thing, right? Okay, nice. But yeah, I think we can probably just dive in.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just get us started. So thanks for joining me, Andre. It's great to have you on here. I know we've been kind of going back and forth for a while on when this is actually going to happen. So I'm glad that we finally managed to get around to it. Just to start us off, can you just give us a general introduction to yourself, your background, sort of the journey in games, and obviously as a founder?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here and for the invitation. It's a pleasure. I'm André Pimenta. I'm based in Portugal. I started my let's say my academy path in at almost 15 years. I did a degree in computer science, then a master's in computer science, and then a PhD on artificial intelligence on computer since as well. Then I founded Anybrain 10 years ago. We will do 10 years in about 1 month. And then, well, it's been like 10 years of entrepreneur, learning a lot, spending time on games. To be honest, we didn't start Anybrain focus on gaming from the beginning. It was more around 2019, 2020, and I will tell a little bit more about this.
Hmm?
I'm a gamer, so I played a lot FIFA, League, and others. But when we did kind of a pivot for gaming, we started spending much more time, well, reading everything about gaming and enjoying more because we do a lot of tests and we take time to play games as well during the work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the best parts about working in the games industry, right? It's like you can say, "Oh, I'm playing, but it's actually for work. It's not just fun anymore." So it's like, "Hey, I have a reason to play during the day now."
Yeah, in fact, my wife is always joking, like, they don't work, they play games at the office. If you go there, they are never working, they are always playing games. I said, yes, it's about work. Not all the time, but at least I can use that excuse.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, I mean, tell me about that transition, right? Like AI is basically the hottest thing in the world right now. You guys were here 10 years ago now. I think Anybrain's been a project that's been going on that long. So how did
Yes.
that concept come about, especially, from the AI research side?
Yeah, so when I started my master's in 2012 or 2011, basically I was on a lab that people there were looking for solutions related to effective computing. This means that we were trying to build stuff where machines were able to get some knowledge about the users, how they were feeling, if their context, to try provide on the time we called it a little bit more smart solutions because they were not so smart as
Yeah.
they are today. So there was a project where people were trying to analyze stress, how they interact with device when they are stressed, like
Hmm.
on online exams. And said, okay, I want to do my own stuff. I want to create something to detect when people is tired because it's about performance. I was focused on, okay, performance is key for people improve their well-being. And at the same time, I decided to look for AI because okay, there was a lot of people doing programming. It's good programming your own stuff, but when I had first class about AI, on the time it was a lesson named reasoning,
Hmm.
something about logic. I understood. Okay, machines they can do a lot of stuff that programmers are doing. Like if you can create something good, you will avoid to define or create rules for everything because the idea is AI will able to take decision based on the information that you provide.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, at the time, there was not much data available. It was difficult. That acquisition was
Yeah.
a topic of the time, but also about hardware. Nowadays, we have easy access, let's say, to GPUs and hardware focused on training. But at the time, I remember that it was like about 1 month to train some models, and at the end, okay, we need to do to change some parameters because the results are not improving. So it was very, very hard because of limitations on data and hardware. But going back on the reasons, so I wanted to create my own thing. Mental fatigue was a topic, so I started my PhD around that. After 2 years, Serafin, our CTO, and our co-founder also joining to the lab, working on the same project.
Cool.
And we developed the first algorithm that belongs to Anybrain. That was basically a system that is able to detect mental fatigue from the way we use mouse and keyboard. So the idea was to
Sweet.
make it available for everyone, and well, saying, hey, you are too much tired to be playing, or you are too much tired to be working. Why you don't stop for 5 minutes? And this is how we started
Yeah.
Anybrain.
Awesome. That's incredible. Like, I'm seeing a lot of new like AI startups right now that are looking, especially from the wearable angle, right, of being able to listen, being able to activate and see if you're stressed out, and like kind of go around that mental health topic. Like that's becoming huge in the world today. So it's really cool to see that you guys were like so far like ahead of time with this thing in a way. And I guess that probably had both benefits and then, a lot of issues with it, that you're kind of looking into the future. Like today, I think this topic is more present than ever with what people are saying about online, how you're using it, AI, how it's developing, and like obviously fatigue in being online from a mental stressor point of view. But talk to me about how, obviously, you started this angle from, we want to talk about fatigue, about mental stresses on using machines back then. How did that transition to gaming specifically as the use case that you decided to
Yeah.
build around?
So on the first 4 or 5 years of the company, we were developing this algorithm and improving our data acquisition and a lot of improvements on our algorithms. We worked on different industries, from some office to contact centers where people wanted a solution to help them to manage their daily basis. But in 2019, we met a few esports teams. So esports was on good shape on the time, a lot of new projects.
Yeah.
There was a team here in Braga named Offset. They are not operating anymore. But we said, hey, it would be nice to see mental performance for esports because, again, you use the computer to play, and it's key for you to be in a good shape to get better results. So it's how we started on gaming. On the beginning, it was the idea was to provide safe tech, mental fatigue detection, and mental performance for esports athletes.
Yeah.
And like after 6 months, we started working with a few teams like Team Vitality, FlyQuest. We were working with top teams in the world. We noticed that there was a big problem, in fact, about cheating because on competitive level, people were talking about, hey, there is that player was using an aimbot. It's not a fair environment. So we decided,
Yeah.
okay, what we can do for this to help. And it's how we move it for Anybrain as it is today.
Awesome. Okay, so you really kind of rode that wave for esports up, and kind of now going into like games as an ecosystem's become so big. Fairness is a huge topic as along with the ethics side. No, that's
Yeah.
cool. But then I guess just taking a step back at looking quickly at the AI one before we dive deeper into the company side. Obviously, it's changed so much the ecosystem now. Did you ever imagine we would get to this stage? Like, what does it look like for you? You know, being early here from a researcher perspective, you're like deep in it when machine learning's still kind of in its niche. Now it's basically the talk of the town. Everyone wants to kind of look at AI. How's that looked over the years? I think you said like Anybrain really hit its stride around 2019, 2020, kind of going on from that. I guess capitalizing on some of the momentum. But how has that influenced the company? How you're using AI and where we are today?
Yes, to be honest, at the beginning it was difficult for us because AI was people. People was not aware about AI and how that can be useful. People was kind of, yeah, this is a good tech, but it's not on the point. Maybe there's a lot
Mm,
of false positives. Maybe you can't detect the stuff. In fact, I can say that AI was, special machine learning field, was used especially for recommendation systems or for some analytics, but there was no decisions or um, let's say insights being collected automatically with AI. So for us in the beginning, it was kind of some people had some doubts. Should I trust on an AI system? I prefer my own system that I know that is for sure what we are
mm,
architecting. So we were kind of new approach, and people wanted to see our tech to be
yeah.
used, to trust on us. That that caused us a few problems like okay, probably we are not closing this deal because they want to see a use case, but let's focus, let's keep what we want, let's do research, and
Yeah.
also with investors we need to justify, hey, it's not about sales today, it's about the future. We want to build the future and not build a tech that will do sales today. Of course, we wanted to do sales, but most important was
Yeah.
not change the focus of the company. Yeah, in the beginning, it was difficult to justify for investors, but also sometimes on the team, hey, why we don't do this? Hey, because we have bigger goal. Let's keep focus on developing this, and we will have our time because we believe and we know that the approach that we are following is the future. Probably is not this year, next year, but in 2 and 3 years. And I would say that with AI, especially with generative AI and the work that OpenAI did with ChatGPT, also opened the mind of a lot of people. Okay, we
Mm,
should incorporate AI on our tech because we can see this is good. So I would say that there was kind of this momentum with ChatGPT that changed a lot of decision makers on, okay,
yeah.
we must include AI. And to be honest, nowadays it's like, hey, we must have AI, even if you don't need it. A lot of out of our context, but it's kind of changed people nowadays. Hey, we must have AI. Why? For what? I don't care. We must have AI. So it was kind of a shift. In our case, it was good for people to accept a little bit more what we're doing. And that allowed us to build some nice use case and to be working with AAA games.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like what you said, I think it's basically like a chicken and egg situation, right? It's like, hey, we want to see use cases, and then it's like, yeah, well, we need a game to let us try it first, and going to it. So yeah, I think definitely having the hype kind of helps you capitalize on some of that, right? So that's always good. But then, what is like you've been in the space, you kind of understand it really well. What is the misconception around AI? Like you said, a lot of people now because it's the hype, they want to include it, even if they don't necessarily need to. But what's for you today like a frustration point of like, oh man, these guys just don't get AI. They just don't get what's happening in the ecosystem. They don't need it, or they use case is completely wrong. Like, is there anything that stands out to you where it's like, okay, why?
Yeah, I would say right now I see kind of two main behaviors. One is we need to adopt AI because AI will replace the humans, will improve our productivity. If we don't have AI, how the world will end. And the other side, that people is still skeptical in terms of, or probably more afraid of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it will replace my work, and they prefer to say, no, humans are better than AI. Let's not use it because we are still better. But let's be honest, it's a tool. We should be able to use it. And in my opinion, it's has the we had computers, internet, whatever. There is a lot of inventions and people that was able to adapt and use them is the ones that were able to, well, to get an extra job or promotion, whatever. So I believe we need to use it to keep competitive, to be updated. Uh, but we are not yet on the point on they will replace humans. But a
Yeah.
lot of people are afraid of that. So I would say both. The ones that are rejecting no AI, and maybe sometimes say that maybe this is good, but not for now. And the others that hey, we need to have AI. Let's use everything on AI. So I guess
Yeah.
it's are both, but we are not. We are still in the middle of the battle.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, I can definitely get that. It's like one extreme or the other, right? People are very tough with just sticking to a baseline.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
then I think when we're sort of talking about this from the lens of games, right? I think the games industry can definitely be very stubborn when it comes to the big changes like this. You can also see this from the artist community, which has a lot of fear, like we sort of discussed around AI is going to come take away our jobs. It's going to basically make a lot of these elements redundant or a fear around the quality of things. And then you have the whole host of security, copyright, etc., which is
Yeah.
basically another thing on its own. But from the games angle, what is something that being in this environment, being in games, kind of understanding this, but then also being in the AI side and understanding how that works? What's something you would say to somebody who comes in as an artist or is on the game side going from, art shouldn't be created by machines like this, or it's going to take away my job? Like, what is your advice or thoughts to them when they're coming from that angle of like, hey, it's not right for it to just generate a game or art pieces or
Yeah.
set pieces?
Well, I'd say that games and creativity. It's one of creativity industries are one of the most difficult topic right now, especially with generative AI.
Yeah.
The reason is a lot of some stuff is already being produced by AI agents or some LLM models, and some people are being replaced. So yes,
Hmm.
there is in fact here already some change on the way we work. So first of all, I believe we will still need humans using these tools because let's say these models they were trained on what is available on internet would be YouTube, Reddit, well, page they were indexing. So they were able to learn from humans. It's true, and every day we see a new algorithm, a new update on a model that now can produce some stuff
Hmm.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That stuff that let's say 5 seconds of a video for someone producing that could take like a month or weeks, depends on the work. So I see this a way where people can accelerate their work, but we still need people to go for the extra mile because I still believe creativity, create new stuff needs to come from humans because at the end, the games or art or entertainment is something that we are living for humans. So we need to understand them. We need to create new stuff. Of course, there is a lot of stuff that what we try to do is reproduce what worked on in the past, or try to do a similar game or a similar movie because there was some success. But the big thing is about creating new stuff, and I believe here machines are not there yet.
Hmm.
Or we can use them, in fact, to help to boost our creativity,
Yeah.
or use them to create new stuff. So, in my opinion, this is still key. But it's true that some of the work is being replaced. Unfortunately, some tasks will be replaced, and here it will be difficult to say no because it's about costs. The games nowadays they cost probably 4 or 5 times more than they costed like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And some of them, as we were talking enough, they don't have the success they expected. So on management side, we also see people optimizing costs, or maybe with let's say with AI agents or AI, we can do more work or we can do more trials. But in my opinion, both are very complementary, and human is still key to create art and entertainment.
No, absolutely. I think like a use case that I've found really interesting. I've been playing around with like the Google VO3 model for video generation, and that's been pretty cool. But yeah, like from because I've worked in marketing and things like that before, like it's just such a boost in terms of like asset creation and just
Yeah,
prototyping and testing. But the biggest thing is you need to understand what you're asking for, right? You need to actually be able to
exactly.
prompt it well to get a good outcome. And that still requires some creative thinking. That still requires you, one, to actually break that problem down into actionable key points, which I think is just a skill that everyone should know in general, because
Yeah,
that makes communication so much better. But two is like, I think in a way these systems are very simple still, and it requires you to sort of break down your thinking and like question it and almost test it before you even prompt something to get a good output. And I just see that as a really cool way to both just learn about yourself, about how you're going to use these products, but then also to see how that generates the output, whether you're using like a designer or an artist versus one of these softwares. So no, I think there's a lot of just cool use cases out there, and there's just so much happening in this space. I think I am a little bit like, okay, game people are just very like skeptical and don't even want to touch it, but like I definitely think it's a tool that you need to learn how to just get
yeah.
accustomed to, right? Just like the internet.
To be honest, it's same on the software side because on the beginning, when you had ChatGPT or others producing some code, people think, this is good, but there is bugs. And nowadays we are with this vibe coding
Yeah.
trend. Of course, it's not yet there, but the progress is quite amazing. And there is already a few AI agents on the pipelines, developing code, doing
Hmm.
refactoring. So yes, probably a company will not need to hire 100 guys, probably just 20, and people that will be able to do the right prompts or do the right connections between agents. And at the end, it's about communication. It's about understanding the world and mapping these requirements or goals to these AI agents. And here, human is key, as you mentioned.
Hmm.
It's a skill that everyone should learn and be prepared.
Yeah, no, I think, with the optimizations that you can get through a lot of these AI systems, it really lets you be more human and actually focus on getting those soft skills sorted, which I think the games industry is a little bit behind the curve
Yeah.
on. So hopefully that is what we'll see more of. But then, yeah, talking about tools, like what's your stack look like? Any exciting tools that you guys like using in the AI space that you just recommend to people from efficiency gain or optimization point of view?
Yeah, so to be honest, we also went on the process on the beginning. Yeah, AI is not on the point. Let's not share the stuff. And now we are introducing a few tools for helping on coding, to discuss ideas. And to be honest, from Gemini, ChatGPT, we try different models because at the end, it's about the output. And there is different contexts where one is better than the other.
Hmm.
So in our case, it's really a lot about code, but also about people discussing sometimes or looking for deep research are good tools, both from Gemini and
Yeah.
Open ChatGPT. If you want at least to get a first initial report with some insights, that are tools that are in fact helping you reduce some time that you probably will be doing on Google, first page, second page, trying to collect some links and see which ones are useful or not. And these tools are helping on that. There is a lot of stuff that we want to introduce, and we will in the next months. But for now,
Sweet.
that has been the main usage.
Cool. That sounds good. Is there any advice you'd give to somebody who's, trying to look at these tools for the first time? Like, how would you tell a first timer to approach, ChatGPT or Gemini or one of these models when they're looking at prompting or trying to understand what the best sort of way to use them is for an output?
Yeah, well, first of all, is try different approach. Be always with some criticism on what you receive because you need to do your own validations. As we know, there is some hallucination. Sometimes the model was trained on a specific context, so we'll have results more focused on that. But it's really about learning how to do the right prompt, how we can set up some context or use memory that systems they already have, because this will save a lot of time as well. Let's say if I'm software engineering, I can do this setup, and that probably the model will adapt answers based on my profile. A lot of people are still using these tools more a generic way,
Yeah.
like hey, answer me, and sometimes they don't get the right answer and they stop using it because yeah, I tried two times and it was I needed to ask twice to get the right answer. They don't come back, so they are in fact losing the opportunity to improve themselves using these tools because they are not doing the right setup. And more important than right setup, it's about trying it, experiments. Because what works for me, maybe it will not work for you because you have your own context, your own profile. Maybe you prefer information on bullet points. I prefer more on, let's say, on normal text. Depends on how you organize
Hmm.
your own information. So this is my advice.
Cool. Well, that's good words of wisdom. I think just play with it, right? Like with anything, just try and like learn and understand and just grow from there. Awesome. Yeah. So before we go, like we could talk about AI all day, but like I think switching gears, going more into the key
Yeah.
point that we want to be here, talking about any brain and like anti-cheat. So you've kind of mentioned how you ended up getting the inspiration for any brain, really coming from this perspective of wanting to understand what stresses people out and like helping them get a bit more mental fortitude and help them in those situations, and then going from that to esports to games. What makes any brain stand out against other all the other anti-cheat platforms? Like how does the system work in terms of detecting these stresses? What's sort of the scope of the product that you envisioned, where you're going, where you are now?
Yes. So basically, we are using human-computer interaction to detect cheaters. By human computer interaction, I means all your movements using a mouse or a joystick, the keys that you press. We don't need to know the keys, but the time you press the key and you went for next key, your touch, how do you swipes or touch on the screen, basically how you interact with these games to be able to play. And if you don't interact, it's because it's a bot. You need to really interact. Games were
Yeah.
built for humans. So, and by the way, we have a patent that is public, so people can know at least the main points of our method. From the
Nice.
beginning, we decided to create a way to be agnostic to the game and the platform, especially because the games were moving for cross-platform. So,
Hmm.
if you work on PC, you must work on consoles and on mobile as well, because what will happen is some people don't will disable cross-platform, or they will not play on that platform because they don't feel safe. And uh, we believe that it's not about hardware that we are using; it's about
Hmm.
gaming experience. So if I'm playing on a cloud gaming, I should be with the same level of engagement or satisfaction as I'm playing on a PlayStation or Xbox or on the PC. So that was our motto: to be agnostic to the game and also to the platform. So we found on human-computer interaction is the same for all the games and platforms. We need to check how people interact with this device. So what we do is we understand, okay, these movements or this sequence of movements, they are not possible for a human, or there is some modifications. Let's get an easy example, an aimbot.
Hmm.
Let's say that you are not such a good player, or for different reasons, and there is some are more serious than the others. Why
Yeah.
people cheat? Because some of them they just want to be better.
Yeah.
Others because they are really bad and they only can play with hacks, and others because some well they want to do bad things on the game, so they really want to have the experience that destroy the experience of other players. So what we do is, okay, on an aimbot, let's say that you do some adjustments on a few pixels to aim on the right
Hmm.
opponent because you are not so good. We are looking, okay, this sequence, there is part of it that is not produced by a human because our algorithms were able to learn from how humans use the device and how people play the games. So we already monitored more than 40 million of players, and
Wow.
I don't have the numbers, but more than 200,000 millions of hours analyzed on our side. So nowadays, we really can understand what is produced by humans or not. Even when you have good hacks with, let's say, humanized bots or no-records, we can detect that. So it's about how really people interact or not. And
Hmm.
again, the main goal was to be agnostic to the platform.
Yeah.
So if you have your game on mobile and PC, you can plug in any brain and it will work on both platforms.
Okay, so I guess it's downloaded through like an SDK or something onto the game code, or
Yeah, so also forgot to mention from the beginning, we wanted to be less intrusive.
Mhm.
The idea was, okay, there is this interaction data on the game, because if you don't interact, you are not playing. We want to use the data that is already on the game,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to fake your behavior because at some point we'll find it. About the integration, yes, we have an SDK. You can plug in on your game with wrappers for the main game engines, but we also now support no SDK integration. If you have this
Oh, nice.
data, if you want to send to us, we will do inference. We will, okay, we receive this package of data. there is this probability of to be an bot or an oracle, and you have the information. In fact, we don't ban people. We always provide information for games so they can take their own decisions. Because for
Mm.
some games, macros are not a problem. For
Yeah.
others are. For some people, there is really different rules. So what we want is provide information, and then the games will act depend on their own rules.
Cool. Okay, nice. So the way it'll work is, say the game has any brain in it, it'll just detect how I'm playing, like when I'm pressing a button, how I'm engaging with like a shot, for instance. And then if you see a pattern changing over time, or say like, like one day my brother decides to play and plays for me, it'll just flag, oh, it's not necessarily the same person playing or something. And with a repeated thing, the company, you'll tell the game studio, hey, there's
Yeah.
some kind of strange activity here, maybe flag this player.
In fact, that is the second part that I didn't mention. So we have the detections of bots, bots, hardware assists. Nowadays, you have a lot of
Yeah.
Exim, Chronos, and others that you can plug in on your PlayStation to get some scripts to emulate mouse and keyboard. That is starting being quite common on FPS and consoles. Well, different hacks that we detect,
Hmm.
and that ones we can detect almost in real time. With
Nice.
around 2 5 minutes, we can have detections. But we have the other side about identity that you were mentioned. So we also, for some games, we are detecting boosting and smurfing based on the way you play because, again, the behavior is unique. So what we do is we receive this data from mouse and keyboard. We create a profile that will allow us to understand, okay, it's now the same player playing or it's a different player or there is another player with a similar behavior. Here, it's quite important we still protect the privacy of the users
Yeah.
because we don't have any connection to the user. What we have is profiles and games that have keys to match on our system to do these confirmations. But with this, let's say there is different scenarios. Boosting, of course, in competitive scenarios, special competitions are a problem.
Hmm.
Or if people is sharing accounts on premium games or people that are boosting accounts to sell on the market, but also smurfing. Smurfing it's a huge problem for matchmaking systems because again sometimes you are just starting a new game because you had a recommendation for a friend. Let's say on the first match you had no chance to play because there was
Yeah.
someone good on the other side. You say, this is too difficult for me. I will not play it again. But in fact, it's just a Smurf that is creating a bad experience for you because there is no um, fair level for a beginning.
Yeah. Okay. No, cool. So yeah, I mean, a lot of different use cases there. Do you see like in terms of just the industry, in terms of who you're working with, like is there one that is sort of the most common that people like to use, or are they kind of using the whole range of suite of tools when they're looking at how to analyze game
Yeah,
output?
depends on the type of game. So FPS, aimbots, and no recoil are the main ones used on these games. Also Wallach, but Wallach
Hmm.
it's a different stuff. We are not investing too much on that for now. If it's an MMO, usually it's bots. It's about
Yeah.
farming. If it's a sports game, usually people what they do, they have some scripts that
Mm.
allows them to do the perfect timing, let's say on shoot a ball or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's really depends on type of game.
Okay. Cool. And then yeah, I mean, you mentioned from obviously the safety side, you don't actually keep any of the personal data. That's still kind of for the companies. What does that layer exactly look like? Because obviously a lot of people are very sensitive nowadays with understanding, oh, are they going to be tracking anything around tracking? It's like, oh no, they're going to have my data, they're going to use it, they're going to do this and that. Obviously, you guys are basically filtering millions and millions of players' data all the time. How do you ensure that it's all sort of safe and the privacy has been saved?
Yeah, it's because in fact we work as a processor, not a controller. So we
Mm.
receive data that belongs to the game. We do the we do the fraud detections. Of course, if there is a
Yeah.
fraud, we will process data in a different way. If not, we don't need to keep that data. What we need is, okay, there is detection or there is no detection. Let's go for the next package of data. In case of profile, what we do is there is no really connection. So you need to have a key to match on our system and say, okay, I want to do a verification here. I don't need to know to have all the data from this player. I just need to know if it's him or not. Also important is the data that we collect is already on the game. Well, we don't.
Hmm.
We receive is data that is already on the game. We are not looking for what you have on background, what we are. Uh, inputs you provide on the browser that is not related to the game. No, we just collect data that is on the game, so we don't need to have new data. We are just creating knowledge and
Yeah.
using the data to have different outcomes.
Cool. So kind of just enriching it and then
Yeah.
basically showing how it works. Okay, nice. And then what's sort of the path forward? I know you kind of briefly mentioned you have a lot of like things in mind in terms of the products that you want to build more for any brain and like what kind of new things are kind of come out. Anything, that you're excited about that you can share, or what's sort of the end
Yeah, there
goal of what the
is.
product you'd want it to be like?
Yeah, there is one important project that hopefully for the end of this year and early next year we will be investing more. That is about age verification.
Okay.
So with same inputs, we can predict age of the user. And nowadays it's a hot topic because of protection for
Hmm.
kids. There is a lot of new legislation. In fact, I
Yeah.
guess today or tomorrow European Union is releasing a temporary app where you can submit a proof that you are an adult, and then if you have a proof, you can use that to not share your age, but to make sure that you have that minimum of age. There is so we want to bring this tech. The reason is because there is the know your customer. There is different ways
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
people do. Some are simple ask you how old are you, and we know that kids
Yeah.
will lie. Um, but not only kids. Unfortunately, it's also about adults jumping on servers for kids and other scenarios more on criminal side. But it's about one checkpoint. You do your verification and you are in.
Yeah.
And if you are able to bypass check-in, so we want to bring a continuous verification on age. And here we also what we need to do is not. It's not it's not affect your privacy. We just want to give signs for the responsible of that community or app or game, saying, "Hey, please do verification again on this player because there is signs that he's more old than it should be, or is younger to be on this server." Could be also for advertising.
Yeah.
There was a time where we saw a lot of new companies betting on advertising in game or in metaverse,
Yeah.
and we can also help to make sure that advertise that a kid receives is different from an adult, for example.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So you'll actually be able to kind of tailor it a bit more on the demographic side as well, in terms of who this
Yeah,
person is that is playing this game, more than just how they're playing. You'll get a bit more of the who knowledge and almost like the psychology as well to some degree of the player and how they're interacting with the system.
yeah.
So that's super powerful. Yeah. Is there so what's the end goal? Like what's your main vision of what any brain can be, should be, could be?
Yeah, well, it's we have one goal or one mission is about making games more secure and fair. Fair, removing cheaters or at least reduce a big part of them. For everyone be able to enjoy a game and not be concerned. And oh, this new season is full of cheaters, so I will I will be able to enjoy or I'm investing a lot on this game and now a lot of people are using bots, whatever. This creates frustration and also make it a safe place through age and also to make sure that if someone is selling the accounts or whatever, we can protect them. What we want is again to making games a place where people can go enjoy and have a good time with friends or alone, but you don't have a frustration of being affected by stuff that are
Hmm.
not supposed to happen on these environments.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So just make a fairer ecosystem for everyone to actually just
Yeah,
enjoy the game that they're playing. Nice. And has that like changed over time, or is that kind of pretty much what's been in day one is still the same today?
yeah. Well, the first one. First of all, we had this pivot when we started with mental fatigue. We still want to explore this in the future to make sure that there is some scenarios where people they get addicted
Yeah.
and with some mental problems, and maybe one day we'll also explore this to bring again more safe environments. But it changed more on the focus because we were not on the gaming from the beginning. But when we decided to move for gaming, it was about this mission. And if we are not achieving all the goals or part of it today, we know that tomorrow will be near and
Hmm.
and more because again, we are using approach that will start being more common and effective. So we know this will take some time, but we will achieve it. And it's not about doing fast; it's about doing on the right way. And I'm sure that we will succeed.
Nice. I mean, I really wish you guys all the best on that. Like,
Thanks.
it's a big mission, right? And yeah, I think, like you
Yeah,
mentioned
and very
briefly,
difficult. Usually
definitely.
say that best hackers they are on the gaming space. So
Oh,
yeah,
100%, 100%. It's like one of the most tech native fields with the most interactions. I think like I've worked on a lot of products, but gaming products just kind of take the cake and just how complicated all those loops are and
yeah,
how much people can just like hack and cheat. Like almost a point of pride, right? You're kind of facing something
yeah,
where there's a whole community around things like speed running or cracking a game and just breaking it down. And I guess you are partially in a way combating that system to some degree. So it's definitely not an easy thing because there's a lot of incentive and like credit given to a lot of these players
yeah.
for
In
just
fact, there
like
is a whole industry
yeah,
about cheats and hacks. I mean, you can in some games they are free to play, but people is paying $20 per day to get a perfect aimbot. So it's crazy. But yeah, there is a lot of money, and that's why there is also good hacks because people are doing money on developing sometimes some simple hacks. And other times they really develop stuff that it's very hard. And in fact, it's here. Most of people they start doing some kind of reverse engineering to understand
mhm,
how the games are built. And let's say it's not easy. Yeah, first you need to break some cryptography that some games they have to protect the game code, and then you need to convert in assembly, binary, depends on the strategy, but it's really difficult. So you have really good people working on this. Luckily, sometimes they move for the good side.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, before I let you go, I do want to briefly also touch upon obviously as a founder, growing this team, scaling it up. One of the things that I always find fascinating when I speak to kind of founders and people that have hired people that have brought people on the team, how do you find like good talent? Like this is a super technical product. You're essentially at the cutting edge. You were doing this before AI was as big a thing. Like you said, there was a lot of skepticism initially. How did you find sort of the right talent? How did you go around in terms of scaling that team? Obviously, I met you guys through On, who I met a few years ago. So it's like, what was your approach in terms of building out this team for this very
Yeah.
technically capable product?
Yeah, so first of all, it's about kind of a culture that we have here. We are people that needs to know about games, needs to play games to
Yeah.
understand what we are developing and what are our challenge. And also because about the mission, let's say, if you're a gamer, you already experienced it, probably a cheater against you. So
Yeah.
the opportunity to solve this problem, it's kind of attractive for people because they really want to be part of something that will change the industry. They want to have impact because there is a game that they love, but they are not having the experience that they wanted. So having the opportunity to work with a tech that will be part of that game, for some people, it's a huge step. So, luckily, I would say that we always had people, a lot of people trying to join us, good talent. We have an amazing team because of that. It's about first working on games that is is nice, but also because they will probably work with some of the games that they love. Also, because it's an industry where we have good challenge, a lot of tech, they
Hmm.
start some gaming because let's say we have games that they have more players than countries. So we are
Yeah.
always talking here about scale. So also on technical side, the challenge are big, and with that you can attract people that want to have big challenge. So it's good for
Yeah.
both sides.
No, it's a cool problem to solve. I can imagine there's just like a lot of tinkering around it as well. So definitely allows you to kind of
Yeah,
also look at the world as well, right? Like you mentioned, some of these games they're global, they're bigger than the population of a country. So you're essentially looking at players how they're interacting across the globe. It's a very good, I think, overview of
yeah.
seeing the world in a way. So no, that's really cool. And then is there anything you're generally just excited about in the games ecosystem or the AI ecosystem or where they converge?
Yeah, to be honest, we feel and we are seeing a few games to be less rich on the client side. So we have now cloud gaming, and for example, Xbox are investing a lot on making your TV as your Xbox, or Nvidia has a perfect, a good system, but you have also others. So what we are seeing is the gaming is less dependent on hardware. To be honest, for me,
Mm,
having being able to play with your phone a game that usually he doesn't support, or there is a version that is adapted for the game and not depending on having that PC or that setup. For me, it's next step on gaming. Be less dependent on hardware, but more availability. And also, I believe there is already a few pilots and a few case studies about using AI, but to adapt the game to you. Let's say that with generative AI, you can make your
hmm.
gaming experience unique. Could be about the text, could be about the characters.
Yeah.
Probably you will have something that only was created for you because about your profile. So this will make the game experience unique for a lot of players. And again, we are just starting here, and hopefully, probably in about 2 3 years, with new productions coming out, because we know it's always about 3 up to 5 years,
Yeah.
sometimes more, to release new games. We will see games already with some of generative AI to make the game experience unique.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of studios already kind of using those elements to essentially make them more personal and like give you
Yeah,
different story points and things, and it's really cool. I think there's a lot of good application and like new ways to play. Essentially, there's
yeah.
like to introduce new game mechanics as well. So no, I agree with you. I think I'm very excited to see for the dark corners that are actually using AI in game development, where what they'll come up with. But yeah, no, awesome. That's really cool, and like it's been amazing to have you here and talk about sort of the technical side of a lot of the anti-cheat side, and also shine a light on the AI part within the games industry, which I think we shy away from a little bit. But yeah, like just to I guess wrap us up. This is I think a common question that a lot of founders get asked. But like, what would you wish you knew 10 years ago when you were starting first on this journey as a founder and trying to build this company that you know now?
Yeah, well, probably we'll be starting gaming from the beginning. I mean, we learned a lot. It's
Yeah,
not always easy because if you change something, we'll have a different effect after that. But yes, if I had opportunity to come back 10 years ago, I would start from with gaming from the beginning. I'm probably well, we'll be facing a different challenge, but that will be the advice that I could give to myself 10 years ago. Well,
nice.
if it is not working on dollars, or go for what you love, because it's about games and not working on other industries that I respect, but they are not so attractive as gaming.
No, fair enough. Yeah, following the passion, right? That's I think one of the
Yeah,
biggest things you can do
exactly.
these days. Nice. Well, it's been amazing to have you here, Andre. Like, thank you so much. And like, I know I definitely learned a lot in this conversation, and I'm really excited to see, from the piece about the identity side that you guys are working on, everything else that AnyBrain's been doing. I'm really excited to see where you guys go next. And yeah, I hope it's just up and up for you guys from here. I definitely feel,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much again for having
yeah.
me here, and also for your time.